Hey guys, and welcome to Truckin and Talking, episode 4. My name is Matt, and today I'm just going to be driving this, the last part of this particular journey I did a couple of videos ago, in the Peterbilt 389, 379, custom truck. It's a mod. I'm taking this, Liebherr crane from starting out in Gdansk and ending in, Russia. So, anyway. The topics I have for today. So, the main thing I think I'm going to talk about in this episode is the cars at the Geneva Motor Show, or a couple of them. But I think, actually, the first thing I'm going to talk about, as those are pretty long, I'm going to start out with a much shorter one. And that is this. It's article about Windows, and these are all from Ars Technica, so if you want to read them in more detail, or look at them, you can do that, because I'll put the links to the articles in the video description. So the first thing is next big Windows update will bring accelerated machine learning. Says Microsoft is busy prepping the developers for the next Windows 10 update version 1803, which presumably means, you know, it's going to come out in 2018 in March sometime, so not long away now. And it says it's putting the focus on machine learning due in March or April this year. The new version will include machine learning framework for using machine learning models in Windows 10 applications. Until now, much of machine learning focus we've seen across the entire computer industry has been on cloud systems. Datasets are processed to build models, and these models can be used to recognize patterns. For example, industrial system visual inspecting manufactured items for defects or defective items. The machine learning system would learn, as you would think, machine learning would learn what the good objectives and bad objects look like. Just try and get around the roundabout here. What the good objects and the bad objects would look like, and build a model. This model could be used to examine images and newly made items, and it could classify them as either likely working or likely defective. The cloud focus has existed because building the models generally requires large data sets and substantial computing power. However, running the model to use the classified data is much less demanding. That's not to say it is necessarily trivial. Running models against live video, for example, they can still require multiple GPU power to perform acceptably, but it also tends to be PC scale rather than cloud scale, which I suppose is an issue if you're trying to run in the cloud, but it requires PC requirements. Moving on. Models can, of course, be run in the cloud, but running them locally has a number of benefits. For service providers, there's a simple benefit of the end user. Resources are free to use, and the cloud services cost money. If you can run things on a client machine instead of a cloud system, you cut the monthly cloud bills, which is a good point actually, because cloud storage and stuff can cost a lot when it's in the terabytes, not the gigabytes, or even the high gigabyte numbers. It can cost a lot, you know. And if you can run things on a client machine instead of using a cloud system, well, just wrote that again. Local execution is lower latency. since it doesn't have to send data over a network, and has obviously privacy benefits. Sensitive data never has to leave premises, which would, I guess, make people like attorneys happy, because they're obviously very sensitive about their stuff. They gotta know exactly if they have a backup where it is. This is where Microsoft machine learning framework comes into play. It's a new Windows component available on every Windows variant, not just PCs, but also HoloLens servers and, you know, Internet of Things devices for running machine learning models. Hold on a sec. It's hardware accelerated on the CPU, and it will use instruction sets. Whoops, just hit the one there. Instruction sets up to and including AVX512, and can also be used on the GPU. And with Microsoft saying that 8% of Windows 10 systems have sufficiently powered GPUs to run the models, which is probably a point. There's also a model for dedicated machine learning accelerators like Modivus Vision, as they say too. These can be used to run models. Hold on a sec. I keep losing my place in my notes here for the article, but models themselves can be formatted called ONNX, developed by Microsoft, Facebook, and when Amazon Web Services, supported by NVIDIA, Quantum, Intel, and AMD. Microsoft itself is going to be updating its photo applications to use new framework. The photo apps have a number of machine learning driven features such as face detection and reveal video content identification. The company also says it will be going to be updating Visual Studio to improve its support for ONNX and make it easier to build applications with machine learning powered features. That was the end of the article. So I guess this is a good thing, you know. I guess this mainly benefits perhaps people that are very data sensitive about their information, like attorneys and people that are, you know, skeptical about it. They can just have it there and they don't have to worry about the cloud. But, you know, they say still have to be secure about it. But, you know, I mean, I do like, I guess, what is happening here. But, you know, if you have any other particular thoughts about this topic, then feel free to leave them down in the video notes below. Video notes, not the comment section. I'd be more than happy to hear about it. But yeah, I think it's a good thing they're doing. So yeah. So I spent 8 minutes on that article, and that wasn't even that long, really. Okay, now into the interesting stuff, at least for me. Hypercars from Aston Martin and Rimatech stand out at the Geneva Motor Show. So, I mean, if you've not heard of Rimatech, if you watch the Grand Tour, you'll have heard of it, because obviously that was one of the cars that Richard Hammond drove that he crashed in Switzerland, I think. Basically, they've said in the first part of the Geneva Motor Show coverage, we took some of our electric vehicle offerings, not to mention the proliferation of four-doors, not coupes. First one they say is a Bentley plug-in hybrid SUV. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of SUVs, to be honest. Generally because the vehicles they're based on are better value for money, cost less, and generally cheaper to run. But hey, if you like SUVs, then good for you, I suppose. Says, for example, how about a Bentley Bentayga hybrid? We don't think better fuel economy is high on Bentley's owners' list of requirements, and yeah, they're so rich they really don't care about their fuel cost. Um, Something that emits less CO2 is almost certainly a must from the corporation point of view. The Bentley Vantage Hybrid contains a turbocharged 3-liter V6 with an electric motor, basically a hybrid in a way, which should make for a serene experience when you drive over a bunch of peasants on your way to the hedge fund. Bentley hasn't released many stats about the powertrain beyond the fact that it just emits 75 grams per kilometer of CO2 and electric range of 31 miles, 50 kilometers roughly. Both according to the NEDC test. If you're a betting man, I'd say the powertrain is probably derived from one of Porsche's latest hybrids. It's this Panoramas sales that begin later this year. That wouldn't surprise me at all, to be honest, because a lot of these hybrid systems are, although they say they're their own, they are rather similar to each other. So, if class were introducing SUVs, if class were introducing SUVs are your thing, but you prefer full environment destroying kind, look no further than Land Rover. It has brought the limited 2-door version of the Range Rover called the SV Coupe to Geneva. Note the SV technically qualifies as a coupe since it has 2 doors and a roof, unless you count the rear hatch, in which case it's a shooting brake, but really it's an SUV. With a dramatic 2-door silhouette, the breathtaking front seat coupe allows to its unique heritage with being thoroughly modern and contemporary, beautifully realized and superbly engineered. The Range Rover SV Coupe delivers the most distinguished, luxurious and exclusive Range Rover ever built, said Land Rover's design chief Jerry McGrowan. The SV Coupe is also a rather fast for full-fat Range Rover because the 557 horsepower 5-liter supercharged V8. Well, that's where it comes from, obviously. We do have a price for this one. It starts at $295,000 when it goes on sale towards the end of the year. Just $999 will be made. So if you own one of those, it's probably a pretty exclusive car. And I mean, the one thing I hope with it is the number plate isn't off like you know, some of the other later Range Rover, Land Rovers I've seen lately that you think the number plate's off and that's just how it's designed, which just really bothers me for some reason. But yeah, I think it bothers a lot of people. But anyway, 7-figure prices, but you can't drive them on the street. Okay, so I think this is about, yeah, Aston Martin and Rimatex stuff. Finally we get an automobile, and I'll try and I think I'll try in editing. I can't guarantee this. I'll try and bring up some pictures of what the article has, or I may just let you go over and look yourselves, but yeah, maybe add something to the video. But anyway, finally we've got an automotive Patum? If that's how you say that word. Cars which will be built in small volumes with truly eye-watering prices. We'll start with Aston Martin because alphabetically, and also because they have tabs. That's the tab I have currently open. The automaker has a pair of reveals for the show. The first was the Lagonda vision concept, which Aston Martin says marks the beginning of a new state-of-the-art emission-free luxury vehicles. Well, we'll have to see on that one. Wow. From the sounds of it, the company has been thinking about how alternative powertrains can allow Ramage and the upper end of luxury car spectrum. The Lagonda has no need to occupy a huge amount of road space or make a ostentatious wealth statement. Though it probably does. Explained Mark Richman. This basically how his name is said. I don't know about spell, but Aston Martin EVP and Chief Creative Officer. That's apparently who he is. It is like comparing Concorde to the first class cabin of a conventional airliner, which is a pretty big statement to make, but okay. By ditching traditional architecture like the path front grills and massive front areas, and still using electric power, the Lagonda can still be distinctive, luxurious without being grand size. It offers its customers a thoroughly modern, emission-free form of super luxurious mobility. So the design with the interior packaging in itself afterwards, in addition to stuff you'd expect to find in the cabin, carbon fiber and ceramics, of course. It also uses silk for the carpets and cashmere for the upholstery. And as an aside, that 2 decades ago Gordon Murray would have wondered why luxury cars aren't using more high-end high-end fabrics instead of leather. Now it's wondered like why that is happening. The Lagonda is just a concept, so it imagines technology we don't have yet, like the solid-state batteries with a 400-mile range. Oh yeah, that's a dream we'll never have, but not for a while. Range, as well as the ability to drive anonymously. But the ideas will have a future with the production of a Lagonda plan for 2021, which is really not that far away. Aston Martin's other Geneva star is called the Valrai AMR Pro. We first found out about the I'm really having trouble saying this, but Valkyrie back in 2016. It's also called the AMRB 001, a name that signified both Aston Martin and Red Bull Racing. The latter one is the front-running Formula 1 teams and home to the legendary race car designer and aerodynamics Adrian Newey. In much the same way the McLaren F1 of the 1990s was the legendary race car designer Gordon Murray's idea of the ultimate road car, so this is Newey's road-going expression that he learned way to more F1 victories than I can count. The AMR01, which is probably what I'm going to call it from now on, got renamed Valkyries at last year's Geneva Motor Show. It will be powered by a 6.5 litre naturally aspirated V12 plus hybrid system with at least 1,000 horsepower and aerodynamics like ones of a car we've never seen before in a road car. But 1,000 horsepower hypercars are becoming common. What McLaren's BP23 and a Mercedes AMG Project 1 are also in development. So what better way to one of their rivals by turning up the wick with even more, I guess. That's an interesting point they make there, that they're becoming common, because they do have a point. They are becoming common, but they're still not cheap. Aston Martin says the V12 emissions control system and hybrid energy recovery system have been recalibrated, stretching power out to 1,100 horsepower, which gets to the magic 1.1 power ratio when you take the car 1,000 kilogram weight into account, another another side. Oh, yeah, another side. Isn't this terribly attributary? Alphabetary? I think it's how they're trying to say it. It's a mix of metric weight and imperial power. So why not? What they say. So why not use kilograms HP or brake horsepower? And apparently I'm running out of fuel, but I have 257 miles of fuel left for a 200-mile journey, so if I see a fuel station I'll stop, but there probably isn't one. Consequently, the Valkyrie AMR Pro won't be road legal, but it's spectacularly faster on a racetrack. Forget the 225 mile an hour top speed. There are more than a few cars that have surpassed that. Rather, consider the fact that Aston Martin says the car should be capable of pulling 3 Gs during cornering, which is quite significant. You know, it's nearing what you get on a roller coaster in a way, but probably a roller coaster still does it more. But getting close. Seeing the Valkyrie AMR Pro this year, and Aston Martin's Red Bull Racing F1 show car together at the Geneva Motor Show is a special moment for me, said Adrian Newey, the Aston Martin Valkyrie Road designer. Extensively from the knowledge I've gained during my career in F1, but for AMR Pro version has allowed me to take work beyond the contrasts of road legality and impracticality. We've told of a few secrets, but by no means all. We'll leave it at the public wondering what the lap times are. Suffice to say, they're quite impressive. I shouldn't have done that then, but I was looking at my other screen, so what can I say? Don't do that in real life. Just 25 will be built. We're beginning of deliveries in 2020. They're already sold. On the off chance the company brings one to the US, it might even get a chance to drive it. This will not happen though, apparently, which is a shame, I guess. Wow. Still more in this article. We're almost done with this wild ride, which means it will be time for the McLaren Senna GTR, like the Valkyrie AMR Pro. The idea is to take a road legal hypercar with a 7-digit price tag, then make it faster but also illegal to use on the public road. Also like the Toyota Supra, which apparently did that as well. Concept we saw in part 1. The Senna GTR is done up like a racing car but lacks eligibility to actually complete anywhere, exceeding the on-track underpinnings of the heritage of the McLaren brand is an important and relevant today as it has ever been. Explained McLaren Automobile CEO Mike Flewitt, the track only McLaren Senna GTR will have more power, more grip and more downforce, up to 1,000 kilograms, which is a heck of a lot. 1 ton, it's crazy. Then the McLaren Senna will post even faster lap times, the very limited number of customers who score while car being buying. The closest experience you can get to the race car actually brings lining up a circuit grid. McLaren will build a 75 Senna GTR, which will cost you $1.4 million plus taxes. So that's a pretty exclusive car, which most of us, let's face it, unless we win the lottery, we're never gonna get to drive. So yeah. The next bit of this article is, and yeah, this is a long article, and this is not the only one I have. I don't think I'm gonna get through all of them before I finish up here. So Don't let Richard Hammond drive this one, please, because he'll probably crash it, you know. Last but definitely not least is the creation from the Rimatech Automobile. Regular readers will be familiar with Rimatech. It's a Croatian company that specializes in EV powertrains, responsible for Monster, Tamiya's Pikes Peak Hill Climb Racer, plus the hybrid system in the Koenigsegg Riga hypercar. In addition to working in an engineering consultancy, Rimatech also has a very low EV volume of hypercars. Its first was a Concept 1. It had a fast electric car with 1072 horsepower and 1180 pounds-feet of torque. An all-wheel drive, four-wheel torque vectoring Rimatech built 8 Concept 1s, which could do a quarter mile in 9.9 seconds. That's fast. More casual readers may be familiar with Rimatech in the aftermath of letting the Grand Tour's Richard Hammond drive one on a hill climb in Switzerland. Yes, it's the car that he destroyed spectacularly after just crossing the finish line, or crashing over the finish line, I guess. The Concept 2 will be built in much greater numbers. Rimatech planned to make 150 of them, and its spec make the Concept 1 look like a Chevy Bolt. 1194 horsepower, brake horsepower, 1696 newtons of pounds-feet of torque, 2300 newtons, 120 kilowatt battery, and top speed 258 miles an hour, 412 kilometers an hour, and 0-60 time of 1.85 seconds. Holy shit, that's fast. I can't help thinking that the last star is important, as it's 0.05 seconds faster than Tesla's promised for the next Roadster. Although Rimatech hasn't announced the price of the Concept 2, except it's several times what Tesla will take from you at a Roadster, but you'll get plenty of torque wrenching for your money. Or tech for your money, sorry. In addition to the carbon fiber chassis and one motor per wheel, with torque vectoring, it also has a feature called a driving coach, which will guide you for the optimum lines on a racetrack, which is cool, I guess, but could be annoying if you're an experienced driver. Hopefully you'll be able to turn that on or off. Not to mention the suite of sensors that includes 8 cameras, 2 lidars, 6 radars, 12 ultrasonic sensors, and a highly accurate GPS and localization, in which all of the enabled bevy of advanced driver assists up to including a level 4 autonomy. Well, I'm going to remain a little skeptical about the last part, but I doubt the Concept 2 will deliver on the performance claims. Mate Rimatech, if you're not reading this, I promise not to crash one if you let me test it. And I'd love to test one as well, so that'd be pretty cool. So that's a pretty extensive amount of cars there, of that type, you know, and it's cool to see these new cars, and hopefully they will be the future, you know, in a way, of cars we can drive, or maybe not us, but we can see on TV, which should be cool, you know. So this next one is, ironically enough, about Tesla. It's the first Tesla semi-trucks leave Nevada Gigafactory filled with batteries. Basically says, on Wednesday, Tesla CEO Elon Musk, great guy, posted a picture on Instagram of 2 Tesla semis in the Sparks, Nevada Gigafactory. The trucks are apparently full of battery packs and making their way to the Tesla factory in Vermont, California. The first production cargo trip Tesla semi heavy-duty truck carrying battery packs from the Gigafactory in Nevada mountains to the car factory in California, Musk wrote. This marks a milestone for the electric truck, which Tesla have announced last November. I can't even believe that's gone that quickly so far. It's already March. I mean, this is March of 2018, if anyone's watching this in future. The company hopes to start selling the truck to other companies, including Walmart, DHL, and JB Hunter Transport Systems by 2019, so not long away now. But it said last year that the first trucks would be used internally. In fact, Tesla said in November that this was already using more desperate prototype versions in semis, full batteries from Nevada to California coast. The semi has autonomous I can't even say that. Ambiguous specs that wouldn't have been inverted in a real-life world yet. Musk has promised that the top-line trucks would have a 500-mile range with an 80,000-pound maximum load. He also claimed the trucks would be able to hit 65 on a 5% gradient, which is, yeah, that's pretty good, actually, for something carrying that much power. So the testing on the route between the Sparks, Nevada and Fremont, California is clearly ideal for a company wanting a product for buyers. Laden with heavy batteries, the trucks will make their way from 4,400 foot in altitude at the Sparks to 7,200 foot at the place where I-80 crosses Donner's summit before the trucks ride down to the route on sea level. On the return trip, where the electric trucks have gained 7,200 feet in altitude, they'll be empty and lighter, which is, yeah, that's pretty high, 7,200 feet. The route is roughly 240 miles each way. A round trip would come in just under 500 miles of the range of the truck would supposedly have. For now though, we don't know if these trucks actually meet the ambiguous specifications or not. The Ars Technica contacted Tesla, but the company declined to comment on whether their trucks would make round trips on a single charge if they would charge up the whole way, which is surprising really. The Semi also demonstrates what seems to be Tesla's modus operation build business based on markets tangible in your area of expertise. Though Tesla is a passenger vehicle first, it has to move out of residential, commercial and utility grade battery storage grew out of companies' knowledge of batteries it needed to make extra space at the Gigafactory production in the years before the Tesla Model 3 came to market. To move the batteries from Nevada to Vermont, Tesla designed a zero emissions delivery system instead of designing a solution like an electric truck, which is the one they have now. Designing a solution that could be sold to many companies seemed like an economic way to go. Still, the critics charge that the design and marketing of an electric truck when the Tesla so deeply needs to turn its production numbers around when the Model 3 is unwise. For now, we'll be watching out for the trucks along I-80, which is the highway there. Which, if you're American and watching this, you'd already know. I mean, yeah, that's pretty incredible actually. I mean, you know, if these things eventually get to the point where they're going across the whole USA, you know, and this is going to help reduce global warming and stuff, and pollution, that's going to be a great thing, you know, but it's kind of a shame it's taken this long. But yeah, I guess the only thing they won't have, which will be cool of trucks they have now, is the amazing diesel sounds, and I guess they'll still have the jailbreak sounds, but, you know, maybe they can play inside a sound of a diesel truck while they're revving or something. That'd be cool, I think. But yeah, that's basically about it for now. I think I've covered everything I wanted to. There was more about the Geneva Motor Show, but, I mean, to be honest, I'm not going to have time to finish that in this video, so I might talk about it in the next episode. But yeah, until next time, thanks for watching, and bye for now. Have any suggestions, put them down in the comments below. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.